Welcome to the midweek macro for Wednesday, the 5th of November, 2025. For those that are based in the United Kingdom, then remember the 5th of November. And the reason I say that is if you're not familiar with the UK, then it's bonfire night in the UK. I'll put a link into the post that comes with this video just so you can have an idea of what that is. In effect, it is all to celebrate the failure to blow up the Houses of Parliament by Guy Fawkes and his team or crew back in 1605. So every 5th of November, what happens is that there are bonfires, big fires, loads of fireworks go off in order to celebrate that event taking place, i.e. the capture of Guy Fawkes and his subsequent execution and downfall with other people as well. I did see on X, on a completely different note, someone calling for Guy Fawkes to come back the other day because of the amount of crazy stuff going on in the UK. But we'll get into that in this video. We're going to have a look at recent events around New York. I'll quickly have a moan about my NFL team, the New York Jets, as well. We'll catch up with the poly market, mid-market, market of the week. We'll, of course, have a look at the equities. We'll have a look at gold, silver, the commodities as well. And we'll have a general look at what's been going on this week. First of all, I should say a couple of things. The live Squawk Commodity Corner, Chris Steadley and myself, we recorded the end of month macro at the end of October. The October one, sorry. We recorded that on Monday. That's now out to everyone. And plenty of podcasts this week. The podcast with Rob Moore, where Rob spoke about the hard truth about money as well as other things. That's now live to all subscribers. And the current podcast with Doonberg and Alistair McLeod, they are available to paid subscribers. It's been a pleasure to see the channel growing. So if you're watching this and you're not even a free subscriber, please do become a free subscriber to the Contrarian Capitalist, contrariancapitalist.substack.com. And of course, once you are happy with the way that the podcasts are and the rest of the information and the posts that come out, then please do allow me a chance to serve you at a higher level by becoming a paid subscriber. Again, I'll put a link and a button in the post that comes with this video. So, absolutely loads going on. We'll start with New York and looking at the election over in New York. And yes, Zohran Mamdani, has pretty much become the new mayor of New York. And that's not a good sign, I think, for anyone that lives in New York. Now, it's very easy to get on a political divide and high horse. I'll try not to do that. What I can say from experience in the UK is we have had years of, our country being run very badly. When the Labour government came in last year, who, if you don't know, are left-leaning, people thought that, they're not going to be great, but it might not be that bad. And lo and behold, after 14 months or so of Labour in charge, it's unbearable, I think, for a lot of people when I speak to people back in the UK. So if you look at what Mamdani has said, I want to free supermarkets and do this and do that and free transport, this, that, along with a lot of policies that come from the left-leaning side of politics, they need to be funded somehow. And I believe that New York and New York State has a high level of tax anyway. And the Trump administration might not want to fund New York. I'll put a link to that in the post as well. But in a nutshell, although people will go out and will celebrate what Mamdani has said and what he's pledged and what he might do, what he might not do, if we just take a step back and look at the physical aspects of this, what he wants to achieve needs to be funded. And if that funding is not going to come from the federal government, then it's got to come from somewhere. I have a feeling that that's going to come from higher taxes. And you're going to see things like extra, maybe more congestion charges coming, etc., etc. And people, I think, are going to get taxed more. I imagine that all of this is not going to be good for business either over in New York. And that's possibly going to lead to an exodus And I hear that Florida is the place where quite a few people will possibly head up. Florida's a red state, as you know. Ron DeSantis down there's been doing some decent work, and he has been opening Florida and himself up by saying, hey, if things are not going so well in New York, come down to Florida. We've got loads of different things going on here. So I think it's very dangerous. People should be careful what they wish for with regards to New York. I want to see how this unfolds. And, I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe Mandani comes in and he does fantastically well. I don't know. Let's, watch this space and see what happens. I think for most people watching this, that it could possibly be the writings on the wall for New York. Let's see what happens. Talking of US politics, brings me into the Polymarket mid-market of the week, and I'm going to see what I can see on the screen. So apologies if by the time I've screenshotted this, the numbers have changed. But on Polymarket's mid-market of the week, I've got here which party will win the House in 2026. The Democratic Party currently sits at around 69%, just under. The Republican Party, again, between 31 and 32%. I think that number's quite high. I think it's possibly an overreaction to what we've seen in New York with the mayoral, I think that's how you pronounce it, these elections basically yesterday. So I think that more people that think that the Democratic Party will win the House in 2026, I think that number's way too high. I'm not convinced that's going to be the case. But of course, people vote with their feet. I understand there's a government shutdown at the moment. I understand that affects especially those people that work within the government. I don't like seeing anyone without their paycheck or anything like that at all. So I'm not celebrating that by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not the only podcaster or video person to say that for a few people in the United States, actually, have they seen a massive difference since there has been a government shutdown? And quite a few people have said there has been no difference. Anyway, going back to this Polymarket mid-market of the week, I think that number's too high. Again, 69% of people think that the Democrats will win the House in 2026. I think that's an overreaction to the New York electoral results, mayoral results from yesterday, personally. I'll put a screenshot in. I'll put a link to the market as well. I also just want to say a thank you to Polymarket for continuing their working relationship with myself here at the Contrarian Capitalist. For those that are paid subscribers, you will know that I'm a New York Jets fan, and yesterday was the NFL draft deadline day, so the NFL trade deadline day. Not a good day to be a New York Jets fan. They got rid of a couple of players. They got a few draft picks back from them, which was good. But ultimately, we've now got to go back to rebuilding and putting our trust and faith in management and ownership. And it seems like Jets fans have been doing that since 1969. Yes, a long time ago. So yes, not a good day for quite a few people of New York and New York State. Not a good day to be a Jets fan, I don't think either. But we'll leave the sports there for now. Moving on to an interesting something that came through my email box this morning. And this is that Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, is set to require supermarkets, pharmacies, gas stations or petrol stations, and other essential retailers to accept cash by late 2025. It is a move that will make it one of the first EU nations to tackle the cashless creep that is spreading across Europe. Now, arguably, I say, well, if you didn't have all this stuff in the first place, then you wouldn't even need to do such a thing of mandating people to require cash. I think that just goes to show that this digitalization of everything that we're involved in on a daily basis isn't a good thing. And I think, I swear, governments spend a lot of time just red taping things for the sake of red taping things. Personally, but point here being that Ireland is looking to make a step to mandate accepting cash. The new law not only mandates cash acceptance in key sectors, but also locks in ATM access by preventing machines from being removed. Again, it's an important step, but one that Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, shouldn't have to take, because all of this, getting rid of cash shouldn't have been done in the first place. Again, it's just part of this globalist creep, this globalist push. We're going to digitize this. We're going to tokenize that. We're going to have a central bank digital currency here, and X, Y, and Z. People that follow me know that I'm based over in Mexico. Cash is still king here. Yes, you can use your cards every now and then, but cash is ultimately king. And it's quite refreshing having come from Western Europe to come out here where things are done, should we say, differently. And, again, it's just nice to be able to use cash. It's just having that tangible asset, or IOU, depending on what way you want to look at your fiat currency. I think there's something quite satisfactory about that. That's just a personal opinion. Looking at the markets, and I'll put this in the headline, I said that gold and silver are retracing. I've been quite clear about this in recent videos. End of month macro, again, as mentioned with Chris Steadley of Life's Commodity Corner. There's two ways to look at gold and silver. Number one, if you are looking from a physical bullion position, then any price retracement, which is what we're seeing, you should be rejoicing that that's happening, because it gives you another opportunity to buy. If you're looking at this from a trading and investment point of view, again, the current circumstances are quite favorable. I think there's going to be more of a retracement. I agree with Gary Savage, a previous podcast guest here on the Contrarian Capitalist. He believes that all of this is part of an intermediate cycle correction. They can go quite lower. How much lower gold and silver can go, we don't know. But if it starts to tick up, one of two things will happen. It will go off to the races, which is unlikely. If it does go up from here, the chances are it's part of what we call a B wave, so Elliott wave analysis and so forth. So the B wave will push things up, and then you might then get a C wave, which will mean you're going to have a lower low. Now that means that looking at these numbers here, a lower low could possibly in gold be, I don't know, 3,700, 3,600. I'm not saying that is going to happen, but it is a possibility that that could happen. If that were to happen, that's when, in my opinion, not financial advice, you're going to be wanting to load the truck. Because from there, once the C wave then hits, once after the C wave correction hits, you could be off to the races. So Gary's not the only one saying that. There are other people out there saying that. And again, I make this point every week, but it's important to make this point every week, that if you're trying to trade these markets, then there could be a bit of an upside, then there'd be possibly a bit more of a downside, and then it could be off to the races. If you're trying to trade, be very careful. If you're looking to take a physical position in gold and silver, even at just under $4,000 and around $48 in silver, these are still very, very good entry levels, in my opinion, especially if you're buying physical and you have a long-term plan in place. So just bear that in mind when you're looking at these markets. Specifically looking at gold, yes, we saw a couple of weeks ago, we saw gold over about $4,400. Yes, it has retraced since then. It currently sits at 3,983. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit more upside and then more downside as part of a wave C, and then off to the races. Again, these things don't happen overnight. They could take between 4 to 8 weeks to play out. But that's where we are with gold. It's down ever so slightly on the week at the time of recording. Same in silver. We saw 3 weeks ago, silver reached around $54, $55. Again, it's retraced from there. It was up ever so slightly last week. This week, it's down by 55 cents, down by 1.14%, trading at $48.10. Again, just the same as what I've just said in gold. Basically, just watch for a bit more upside, possibly then some more downside, and then it should be a clear runway to much higher prices. Platinum is started to look like it's turning to the downside. Again, that's quite handy if you're looking to take a long-term position. Again, in platinum, it's down this week 1%, $15, currently trading at $1,150. Again, they're same with gold, same with silver. There could be some more downside here. If there is more downside, it's just an opportunity to take advantage of, as far as I'm concerned. And then in palladium is again slightly down on the week, but it looks like it's forming a bit of a sideways pattern at the moment when you look at the weekly charts. For those of you that are paid subscribers and founding members, and you have access to the behind the paywall for the commodity wrap, you'll see this weekly chart this coming Friday. Again, it looks like there's a bit of sideways movement starting to happen in palladium. It's trading at $1,430 at the moment. I should also say a big thank you to Nomi, Dr. Nomi Prins, and the Prinsights team, because they've commissioned me to do an article about palladium and platinum. So I'm in the process of writing that. That will hopefully be on Prinsights in December at some point. So watch out for that as well. If you're yet to subscribe, by the way, to Nomi and the Prinsights team, please do go and do so. It is a fantastic publication, plenty of really good information over there as well. If we have a quick look at the equities, so again, with the equities this week, thus far, it's red for the S&P 500, red for the NASDAQ, red for the Dow Jones as well. They're ever so slightly down on the week. The S&P 6,828, it's down 11 points on the week. NASDAQ is down 0.62%, down 161 points on the week thus far. That is trading at 25,700. Dow Jones, again, ever so slightly down on the week, 115 points. That currently sits at 47,450. And there's a big movement overnight over in Japan. It's recovered somewhat, so it could be forming a hammer candle for this week. We saw over in Japan that although it opened the week at 52,310, this is a Nikkei that I'm talking about, it quickly went down to a low of 49,105. It's now back up at 51,250. So some shenanigans playing over there with the yen. Some poor reports. I think SoftBank, one of those banks basically. There was some bad earnings reports, I believe. Some other stuff going on in Japan. So that's probably the more interesting of the major indices of this week thus far. And I should point out, it's onwards and upwards at the moment for the Dixie. The dollar index is just over 100 at the time of recording. Now, Chris Steadley of LiveScore Commodity Corner and myself, we said similar things on our end of month wrap for October. We're not expecting a Plaza record $1985 index of 140, 150, 160, but we wouldn't be surprised if it continues to tick upwards to the upside. Normally, when the dollar index gets stronger, that normally puts pressure on the precious metals. This could be why we're seeing a bit of not setbacks, that's being too dramatic, but that's why you're seeing a bit of a retrace in those markets in gold and silver, because normally when the Dixie's doing well, the impact on the metals is to the downside. So just watch out for that. And again, for those paid subscribers and founding members, you'll know that this is covered on the market wrap that comes out every Sunday. Also, if we have a quick look over at oil as well, and I'm looking at the WTI here, crude oil, so West Texas, it is down on the week by 1.84%, down $1.12, trading at $59.75. I know there's a lot of different thoughts out there with regards to oil. I will draw your attention to the podcast episode with Doomberg, which is currently available to paid subscribers. It will be released to free subscribers later on this week. First of all, number one, please do go and listen to that. Secondly, please like, share, and subscribe as well. Please do share the episodes with Doomberg and Alistair McLeod this week. Alistair, of course, looks at gold, credit, and debit, and debt, and so forth. Doomberg had some very, very, very good points on the future for the oil markets and natural gas markets as well. Again, when that episode comes out, please do like that and do share that with your network. Of course, if you want early access to it, please do become a paid subscriber at the Contrarian Capitalist. I should point out that being a paid subscriber, you have access to all of the podcasts because they come out to paid subscribers first. You then are able to go behind the paywall for the commodity wraps and market wraps every Friday and Sunday. And the mid-month macro, the end-of-month macro with Chris Steadley are exclusively for paid subscribers as well. You can do that. Prices start at $11 a month. And if you go on an annual subscription, it works out about $9.20. So for the price of a couple of cups of coffee, it's exceptional value to help you to protect your wealth, defend your freedom, and outsmart the system. That's where we are on those markets. I should also point out and say a massive thank you to Adam Fayed. Adam is currently sponsoring the Contrarian Capitalist, and he has, or is offering, I should say, a free 1 hour financial strategy session. That's a lot of S's for me. Basically, he's offering a free 1 hour strategy session worth up to $700. He's offering that free for anyone that is a contrarian capitalist. So what Adam will do, and it's no obligation as well. Adam and his team help clients worldwide with retirement planning, investments, property, tax strategies, trusts, insurances, even Plan B. So what he can do and what he will do with his team is sit down, and he is offering a free 1 hour consultation for contrarian capitalists. The button for that is going to be in the post that comes with this video as well. I'd highly recommend that if you are in a position where you're not sure what to do next, again, there's no obligation here, but do have at least take advantage of that free 1 hour call with Adam and his team over at adamfayed.com. Again, there's a button for that in the post that comes with this video. Last thing, I will have a look at a couple of news articles that I think you should go and check out as well. Again, these links will be in the post that comes with this video. A couple of things to bear in mind. So I've already mentioned Trump. I've already mentioned about the New York City and Mamdani as well. So those links are in there as well. There's another one to do with the Trump administration might tap emergency funds to pay partial food stamp benefits. Again, I thought that was an interesting read. Other things to bear in mind, we talk about green energy and so forth. Apparently in the UK, there's been a surge in rooftop blazes. And this is all down to Ed Miliband's solar panel boom. So basically, it's all gone Pete Tong. That's Cockney rhyming slang for wrong, by the way, if you're not sure what I've just said there. So basically, a lot of solar panel installations happening worldwide, quite a lot happening in the UK as well. And of course, with a lot of things in the UK, they're so in a rush to get these things out that you might get people installing these things on your roof that have no idea what they're doing. They're not sure of the electrical output and what's needed. They're not sure of the structure of the buildings. I know from being a building surveyor and having done this as my previous job that a lot of thought and consideration needs to go in to solar panel installations. So it's shocking to see that there is now a surge in rooftop blazes, because if people aren't installing these things properly, then again, that's putting homeowners at risks, and of course tenants at risk as well. I've linked into that as well. And keeping with the UK, two things that have come out in the last week that are concerning. Number one is that Rachel Reeves, or Rachel Thieves, depending on how you want to call her. Number one, she's fallen foul of the law by renting out a property without a license in London. Now, we've seen this in the last couple of months with former Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner. She had issues with her taxes. I use those terms lightly. She had to resign. There was no option for her but to resign. It's the same here with the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves. She has committed another issue, problem with property. She should resign. She hasn't. She's not going to. Sir Keir Starmer has said, no, don't worry about it. Slap on the wrist. You crack on and do what you're doing. I think that's an abomination personally. But secondly, she is also considering an exit tax on wealthy Brits that are fleeing the UK. I've been calling for this for a while. I know other people have as well. And I know that you, contrarian capitalists watching this video, you know that I get on my high horse with these things. I've seen this coming for a long time. These things are going to be put in place. We've seen the possibility of it happening in France as well. It's now being spoken about in the UK. It's reported that it could possibly be a 20% settling up charge on business assets, which is apparently the rate of capital gains as well. Again, it's one of those things where the idea sounds good, but if all the millionaires and billionaires, who are probably, by the way, structured in a tax efficient way in the first place, just saying, the chances of them going, hey, I want a bit of this, let me hang around the UK and, oh yeah, I'll quite happily pay this to leave, they're going to go out. They're going to naff off. They're going to go to places like Dubai. They're going to go to places like Luxembourg or Liechtenstein, tax havens, so to speak. Or even, as I would say, follow myself, head down to Paraguay. If you set yourself up in Paraguay properly, 0% tax. Same with Panama. If you set yourself up properly over in Panama, 0% tax. Just saying. I'll go back to that call with Adam Fayed. Go and take advantage of that 1 hour consultation. Him and his team can talk about absolutely anything. Highly recommend you take advantage of that. You'll also know that I'm off to Paraguay, hopefully on the 12th of November as well. I've got to go back to Mexican immigration to get an exit permit because I've not been given my residency yet because of an issue with our marriage certificate. So, hey ho. But you can follow me. I will be down in Paraguay, hopefully leaving on the 12th of November for a couple of weeks. The point being, let's go back to the UK, that when you're in a financial pickle, what you're going to do is you're going to continue to tax people because apparently no one at the BBC or no one in the UK has heard of a Laffer curve. So they're going to continue to go down this route. It's dangerous. You're then having capital flee the country. Capital will continue to flee the country, and you want to, dare I say, you want to be like the USA. You need to be like the USA. You need to have that entrepreneurial spirit. You need to have that can-do attitude. I always love that about the United States of America. And Britain is going down the complete opposite path, along with a lot of Western Europe as well. It's not healthy. It's not good at all. That I'll leave him with the very last news article, which is Nigel Farage, who's head of the UK Reform Party. I know that at the moment it looks like if there was a general election today, the Reform Party would be in charge of the UK. Unfortunately, our next general election isn't until 2029. But he has said, and he's come out and he has said that huge tax cuts are not currently realistic. Now, of course, I don't have all of the government accounts in front of me, so I'm not able to say whether that's BS or whether he's speaking the truth. What I do know is if I were in charge with my utopian ball and my crystal ball, I would be cutting welfare. I'd be chucking people out that don't need to be there. I'd be not spending on crazy stuff you don't need to spend, like redoing logos or redoing the Houses of Parliament, for example. I'd get rid of all of that crap personally, and then I would then start lowering taxes because, again, on the Laffer curve, for the purposes of anyone listening to the audio, go and check the video out. People on the video, a Laffer curve will go like this, like camel's hump, so to speak. And there'll be 2 points either side of that hump. One is a low tax, the other one is a high tax, and they will both generate the same amount of revenue for the government. So therefore, why piss off everyone by taxing high when you can go and tax low? That's what I would do if I was in charge. But again, interesting that he's come out and said that huge tax cuts are not currently realistic. I'll take his word for it. I don't have the accounts in front of me. But what I would say is that for any government out there, you should be cutting. You have to be cutting not just taxes, but you should be cutting spending more efficiently and more effectively. And if you don't want to do that, then that just makes me, more to the side of we have a massive globalist playbook here. We're all pretty much nearly at financial ruin. And if you do not want to be part of financial ruin and you don't want to be part of CBDCs, etc., then go and look at gold, go and look at silver, go and look at platinum. Hell, go and even look at palladium as well if you really want. These are things that will protect you moving forwards. They all have a possibility of going much higher to the upside. And if you hold physical gold, you hold physical silver, you have no counterparty risk. The odds of it getting confiscated are minimal, not impossible, but minimal. This is why I always say to people, it is all about protecting your wealth, defending your freedom, outsmarting the system. Gold, silver are key components of this as well. I know people will argue to the cows come home about Bitcoin. I'm neutral on Bitcoin, to be perfectly honest. I know some people are very pro, some people are very anti against it. You could have a bit of exposure to it if you wanted to, completely up to you. Not a financial recommendation, by the way, but this is why gold and silver are important. This is also why Plan B is important. Get yourself a temporary residency somewhere else. Get yourself a permanent residency somewhere else. Get yourself a second passport. You don't have to have a Plan B if you don't want to. And it's not for everyone. I understand that. It's the purpose of doing this channel. The purpose of me being able to serve you is to say, hey, look, I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this. I would suggest that you at least look at it. Do what works for you at the end of the day. Now, as I mentioned a couple of times already in this video, if you're yet to become a free subscriber, please do become a free subscriber. If you are yet to become a paid subscriber, please do become a paid subscriber. $11 a month, $9.20-ish. If you do an annual subscription, protect your wealth, defend your freedom, outsmart the system. Please allow me the honor and the duty to serve you at a higher level. More and more people are doing that, and more people are actually becoming founding members as well, which is a one-off lifetime investment. You pay one fee, one investment, and that's it. You are a contrarian capitalist for life. I plan on running this channel for a very, very long time. The button for that will be in the post at the contrariancapitalist.substack.com. Of course, if you want to take action right now, contrariancapitalist.substack.com/subscribe. All the options will be there for you. Again, it's an honor to do this. It's an honor to run this channel. It's an honor to do these midweek macro videos. It's a pleasure to be able to share this information with you. It's a joy to see the channel growing with all forms of subscribers. Please do allow me the opportunity to serve you, though, at a much higher level. Please do go and check out the post, check out the podcast with Rob Moore, check out the video with Chris Steadley of Life School Commodity Corner, and please do go and check out the podcast with Doomberg and Alistair McLeod when they're released as well. And please do share all of this, and please share the Contrarian Capitalist with your network as well. Have a fantastic week. I'll be back with a commodity wrap on Friday, the 7th of November. Hasta luego. Take care.